what I want to say to y'all is, I hope you've been working. I hope you've been taking leaps. Because before you know it, it's gonna be August. Before you know it, it's gonna be October. Before you know it, it's gonna be January. Gonna start this process all over again. I think like time, bro, I think people gotta take it more serious as far as like the value of it. Time is the most valuable currency ever because it doesn't come back. And as these days go on and these minutes continue to clock tick, you're making a choice. The choice that you're making is, I'm gonna spend my time getting better, or I'm gonna spend my time wasting my time.
It's all the doubt. It's the imposter syndrome. It's the blessings that you can't really accept fully. And you listen to other people speak who are successful, or you see examples that you kind of feel connected to. Like, man, that kind of feels like me. Or what he just said or what she just said, I resonate with that. I feel like that sometimes, other people who are looking at you saying, no, Mike, this is what you have. This is what you can be. This is what you are. Nah, that can't. No, that's too good. No, that ain't me. Your own presence in a situation where you have to step back and look at yourself and be like, am I this guy right now? Like, oh man, there's a room full of people who showed up because of something I'm doing, and they're in service or in support of my idea.
Always, always, always talk good about yourself. Always talk positive about yourself. Always tell yourself you can do it. Always be that encourager. And I was like, but that doesn't make sense. You mess it up. You're up and up. The breakthrough was, I have a picture of myself at 6 years old. And I looked at that picture of that kid. And I remember I was missing one tooth and the whole thing. Is that kid a bad kid? No, he's 6. He said, at no time ever in your life did you ever stop being that little boy. Ever. That little boy is you.
No confusion on why I am where I am. Anybody can act confused or act like they don't know. I was fifth round draft. I beat everybody out of a job there. That's how I got my start. I got my opportunity, and I took advantage, and I got better each and every year. Now I'm going into a new situation. And I love that God gave me an opportunity again. You know what I'm saying? Not just the opportunity to play ball, but to prove myself again. You know what I'm saying? I done did it so many times. I know exactly what it takes. And I'm coming off an injury, supposedly. That's what they say. I don't know how true that is. I'm out here moving good. I'm getting ready to get back to the grind. It's been 7 months, man. Since the last play for going on 8 months. All I want to do is get the opportunity to spin. People act like other shit in the world give you that rush. So that made me feel like I was in high school, middle school, elementary school. You can ask any of my teachers, what you want to be? I'm going to the NFL. They said, what you got to have like a backup boo, got a backup plan. Tell them to have a backup plan.
I think a real man is born to serve. And serve means provide for those that are in your sphere of you to provide for. It means to protect. It means to encourage. It means to teach and to train. And sometimes it means to step back and let them hit the wall. Sometimes the best service you can do for somebody is to, when it's all done, walk up and look down and say, did that hurt? That's what they needed. But we won't do that because it makes us look bad, and even in our service to others, we do it for ulterior motives, But yes, I believe that very strongly. I believe if you spend your whole life to yourself, for yourself, you have no purpose of being here. This planet is not in any way better for you having been here.
if you can survive the temporary pain in your life, and all pain is temporary. I watched my father pass away last year. He was in tremendous pain. Even our bodies are temporary. Only our souls are permanent. If you can survive the temporary, on the other side of temporary pain, you meet another version of yourself, another insight about yourself. And that's why it's so important to grow as a person, because the more we grow and become a new person, we can help those that used to be like us. And that's why you and I are so addicted to growing and learning, and we're curious, because if you used to be a broken person and you no longer are quite as broken, you can help broken people. If you used to be broke financially and you no longer are, you can help people. Whatever you do for a living, at one time you didn't know about it, and now you do. You can help those who need to know about it. And so you're immensely qualified if you understand the power of doing one more.
I think it's important to realize wherever focus goes, energy flows. It's corny, but it's true, right? In fact, maybe an easier way of saying it is, we don't experience life. None of us do. We experience the life we focus on. So in any moment, what's wrong is always available. So is what's right. So it's not about being positive. It's about being intelligent, right? You know, when you're in a totally negative state and the world's going to end, and there are people like believing that in the next 12 years, the entire environment's going to collapse and they won't have a child. You got to look at the impact of what you're believing, and you got to look at and say, where's my focus going? I can always be upset about something. I can always find something to be joyous or at least grateful for, which leads to joy. And I think it's having that, learning to discipline your disappointments, not allow them to grow and to move on and to use whatever life has given you. But to me, it's like, I think there's 3 decisions that people make every moment of their life. Now, I'm not saying they make them consciously. If you make them unconsciously, you have the same patterns over and over again. And usually they're not good ones, right? Sometimes they're good, but not usually.
But I always tell people, and I always say it like, hey, I've given this when I used to give a lot of speeches. I would be in front of people and say, hey, what's the chance of you making $1 million this year? Give me numbers. And everyone's like 0%, 0%, 0%. 1%, there's always 1%. It's like 5, and that's like the most it'll get to. And I said, okay, I'm gonna give you the most extreme example, but I just wanna see what happens, okay? What's the percentage chance of you making $1 million this year, legally, and if you don't, everyone that you love dies? And everyone's like 100%, 1,000%, 1,000%. I said, what changed? The goal didn't change, the time frame didn't change, why you're doing it changed. Would you wake up in the morning if everyone that you love's life depended on it and be like, yeah, well, maybe I should scroll on TikTok for a little while? No, you'd be like, I'm gonna take action immediately. And so it doesn't need to be like a fear of losing everybody, but what's really behind that is like, why? Like why they're doing it. Like if I give a reflection of anyone who doesn't know Jay, like you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met, but you have a really strong why. Right?
You pursue things that have meaning in life and things that you care about. Love, challenges, relationships, and happiness might ensue, but you don't pursue the happiness itself because it's inevitably not going to be there all the time. So if you're just constantly seeking more happiness and it's not there, then you're seeking something that's never going to be there. But if you're able to just stick in what you're doing right now, and in those hard times, believing they're going to lead to good times, it just creates a lot less friction in your life, And I think whenever we're going through a hard time, we just want it to end. But it's those moments that allow us to appreciate the good ones.
Because you have so many unresolved problems, unresolved stress points that have piled up in your life that you can no longer identify what the problems are. And there's this mountain of garbage in your mind, and it's a little bit of it poking out the top like an iceberg. And that's anxiety. But underneath, there's a lot of unresolved things. And so you just need to kind of go through very carefully every time you're anxious. Like, okay, why am I anxious this time? I don't know why. Oh, well, let me sit here and just think about it. Let me write down what the possible causes could be. Let me meditate on it. Let me journal. Let me talk to a therapist. Let me talk to my friends. Let me just kind of see, like, when does that stress go away? If you can kind of identify and unravel and resolve these issues, then I think that helps get rid of anxiety. A lot of the anxiety is piled up because we move through life too quickly, not observing our own reactions to things. We don't resolve them. So this goes counter to what I was saying earlier about not reflecting too much on things. But you reflect on the problems to observe them and solve them. You don't reflect on them to feel better about yourself. Well, if you're doing it to just feel better about yourself, that could be strengthening your personality and your ego, and could be creating a more fragile personality.
Yeah. An understanding that comes with the world of communication and great dialogue. I can, in having this conversation, I can point to so many examples of how it's so hard to see the good if you're only seeing the bad. Like, there's so many people that struggle with what their version of success is because they're looking at someone else's. There's so many people that struggle with their world of relationship because they're judging theirs based off of someone else's, right? And when you're constantly in the space of not realizing or noticing your world, your reality, because you're living in what appears to be someone else's, well, your shit is never gonna be right.